But I grant that nudity is foreign to people. It's shamed. It's feared by many. So now let's get into Ashland's nude controversy. I wasn't surprised by the ban on nudity in Ashland, but I was a bit disappointed in my town. I didn't see the naked ladies protest in the park, but I was glad that it happened and that our town took it in stride. I saw 3 people politely be asked by the police to put on their clothes when they were at the art walk over on A Street. They didn't, and they said they had a right to do it, and the police said, okay, there's no law against it. If somebody calls again, we'll have to come back and talk to you again. It was all a polite conversation. I was so proud of our police and of our town at that moment. I saw some nude teens on the plaza right out here at night one time. Everybody was walking by and not many people were noticing them. Some people were. I walked up and said, hey, what's going on? Why are you guys naked? They said, we heard you can be naked in Ashland. And I said, no, you can be naked in Oregon. There's no law against nakedness in Oregon as long as you're not being lewd and lascivious and provocative. Women can bare their breast in Oregon because we have a non-discrimination clause in our Constitution. And as long as men can take off their shirts, so can women. And that issue hasn't really confronted this town yet, has it, very much? But it could. When pretty Jennifer Moss paraded and biked around town nude, I wasn't just proud of her for her daring act. I was proud of our town for taking her stride in stride. And when an old guy walked nude too near a school, I wasn't surprised that many would object. When all this led to a ban on nudity, I wasn't distraught, but I was dismayed. Would Ashland, a liberal town, model a law that could grow all across Oregon? Nudity in many situations is just plain improper. It pops people's propriety, it tests their tolerance, and it rouses up their irate indignation. Some people have never seen or heard of nudity in public. Fear and resentment mount quickly, and man, does it get wild. Read the letters to the editor about the nudity issue, and you'll see all kinds of horrid acts thrown in as though being nude was the same thing as those acts. Dare to resist sex and violence. And they link them together in a confusing logic mishap that doesn't let you distinguish those things. Old wounds and anxieties flood the emotional and rational parts of their brains, of many. I don't blame people for being reserved or anxious or afraid regarding social nudity. I don't blame people for such reactions, but I would ask that they consider, and that all of you consider, and the news help the people in the world here to consider, that reactions themselves are as or more damaging than the perceived offense. I was afraid because I was naked and I hid, goes that line in Genesis 3. Isn't this where we are together as a culture? Do fear and hiding foster democracy? Freud once said, civilization is built of sublimation. Maybe that's what's wrong with our culture. We shame and sublimate our natural selves to create a society comfortable with pain, with suffering, with alienation. Is there anything stronger? If there is anything stronger than our interest in sexuality, it is our propensity to be quickly and easily ashamed about it. And that's worldwide. Most cultures do not tolerate nudity. Most cultures like to wear clothes, both for practical reasons and to cover the body. But if there's anything that equals our interest in sex, it's our unease about it and our propensity to be ashamed. We have covered our God-given sense of morality and responsibility with the shallow judgments of anti-sexuality, as if anti-sexuality were itself moral, and that other morality is subservient and falls by the wayside when sexual issues come to fore.